Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So there's a new top multi-target companion, and that's this little guy to my left right here. He must have got a ninja fix just recently, most likely with module 27, and nobody really noticed because they didn't put it in the patch notes, and well, there are over 200 companions, you can't really test them all until somebody just tries it out and we see how it is. Well, this guy, when you read through his powers, you can also see that a bunch of them are multi-target, and one of them in particular says it deals massive damage to nearby enemies with a 1-minute cooldown. We were never seeing this power doing any damage before. You can look at a log that I made back with module 25 when I was retesting every single companion, and you can see the only damage it was outputting was tendrils over a 4-minute test. This was just that damage right there with radius 15 feet around him. So he was nothing special. He did not deal a lot of damage. However, they seem to now have fixed his stench spray and his thought unload. His thought unload is actually a ton of damage, and this also has a radius of 25 feet. So we can go in combat here with him and we can see what powers he uses. So initially he's going to put like his tendrils, and then his that was his spray, and then he puts his tendrils. That's his thought overload. When he goes and shimmers with lightning and then does massive damage around him. I have never seen him do this before. And well, this means he is hella good at area of effect damage. Just testing him out on the dummy, he can deal upwards of 1 million damage. You can see that right there with that attack, the thought unload. You can see that here again. Critical hit, your flump deals 1 million psychic damage to the Conjurer Fighter with Thought Unload. And this confirms. We go and we do an over 32-minute test on this guy. Just went AFK, left him at it, made sure he was healed. And we could see the max hit was up there, 1.1 million damage. And this is just on my testing stats. When you have higher stats, higher item level, you can get him to deal a ton more damage, along with increasing the effectiveness during like an artifact call. And this effect, this attack, is multi-target. It's pretty insane. Again, it's radius 25 feet, but it does have that really long cooldown. That is why you see that he has only hit like 31 times over the course of 32 minutes. But it does put his DPS overall, just in single target, at an already very competitive rate compared to other single target companions. You can check my document, there's a link in the video description below, and like the top single target companion is the Blasphemous Assassin in very certain situations. Make sure to read those notes there. A more reliable option that everybody uses like the green scale bowman. He's ranged, standing back, the least likely to be affected by any mechanics, and can just maintain uptime on damage. However, the flump was listed way down here at like 141 spot at only like 15,000 DPS after the module 25 change, with a max hit of like 46,000. So this is really changing. Flump is going to be up there next to the green scale bowman and the swashbuckler. It's going to be very competitive in just single target damage alone. Even then, if you get this big burst damage to align with an artifact call right at the beginning of a fight, which usually will happen because she does that pretty quickly. Again, we go in the fight here. We just check our rotation. So she first puts the damage over time on the target, and then she goes to explode. And that's it. She does the big burst damage. And you can generally get an artifact call in that very beginning, that start. And by the time she's going to do it again, you have your next artifact call ready. So that's pretty crazy how it can align with that. And what that means is when we go into content and we go into the new trial, the Defense of the Moondancer, which we did, we find she has some crazy damage compared to others. This is also because the majority of her attacks, actually all of her attacks, are multi-target. Again, you can read through them and you can even look for yourself. Stench Spray will attack nearby enemies. Tendrils, radius 15 feet, and Thought Unload 25 feet. Just having like these dummies next to each other, you can see, let's say we attack this one, she's going to be able to attack with the spray the guys up to like 15 feet. And then that's the burst. She hits everything. Just sitting there, you can see they all take damage that are around her just over time with all of her abilities. And then that thought overload is just got massive area as well. And in the new trial, there is a ton of multi-target damage to be had. There's a lot of adds that come in. So with her being competitive in single target damage, along with basically having all her powers multi-target, yeah, that results in her becoming the best companion for the trial. And probably the best companion for any trial because of the sheer amount of damage she can do in a single hit. Check this out. Here is her log. Ignore the duration. The duration is actually over 16 minutes. That was our full run. Just when you merge it, it throws off there. But you can see like 26 hits, 5.2 million with thought unload. Massive. And the rest you can see can do pretty good as well. And this is just during an artifact call. This damage is right here. You can see it against the Lieutenant Doctor. 5.2 million damage with the base damage at like 3.3 million. But the effectiveness up to 157% because of that artifact call. And this damage is actually hitting multiple targets. You can see it hit the Lieutenant Aura guy as well. So this companion dealt over 9 million damage in one hit versus just the two guys. Just kind of nuts. You can see here how that attack is multi-targets, hitting lots of enemies. It hits like 4 guys there when they're grouped up. Then our other abilities as well. You can see this attack hits like 8 different guys around her. And then the tendrils as well. So all of her attacks are multi-target. She's like a companion doing single target rated damage as multi-target. At least when you consider that thought unload. And again, this must have been a fix that came with module 27 that we just didn't know about. And only are finding out now because somebody randomly checked her out. Again, my logs from the past only showed she was dealing tendrils damage. Checked anywhere else in the logs, checked her just looking at her at the dummy, you could see she was only using that one attack. There was nothing special to her. For my multi-target test, we have all 6 dummies there, 35k ratings, and we just let the dummies attack us. That should make the companion aggro them. There we go. She puts the poison on her, and then she's going to go and charge up and deal this burst damage, and well, everything's dead. And this is why she's the top AoE damage companion. No other companion can perform as well. If you want to look at Regis in the exact same scenario, this is how well he's going to perform. Yeah, that's his whirlwind compared to the flump of his thought power. So that's our DPS in my AoE damage test. Yeah, just 4 seconds and everything's dead. 338,000 DPS on my test. Looking on my module 27 multi-target sheet, we can see she ranks, well, yeah, like nearly 10 times higher than everything else. You can see why she may very well get nerfed in the near future. So let's just quickly check this companion, let's say in a zone. How well can she perform, let's say, in the new zone? We get her equipped here and we go to wild space. We can go over to this heroic encounter where there's some groups of like elite enemies, 4 stars. They should have a decent amount of hit points. Let's go invisible here. Charges up her power. Well, I think she just done her spray there. Charges up her power and then bam. She just like one-shots those elite enemies. Again, she has a massive cooldown, so you need to be aware of that, and she won't use the power that often. Like we get her grouped up here again, she's using the power, and then boom, and yeah, she's done a ton of damage. Only the 4 dot dude's left because he has like more hit points than the others. But like even for me, killing these enemies takes quite a few encounters. Here again, group of enemies, she does her spray, and now she's going to charge up her ability. There we go, and everything's dead. Yeah, it's just insane the amount of damage she can do. We can check on the boss again. We have her resummoned. We go over here. Let's give her some combat advantage. Again, going to use the spray. And then she's going to charge up her ability. There she goes. That's the big burst. And she just took a big chunk off the guy's hit points. And basically took the threat from me as well. But again, very long cooldown, which is what balances her out. But for AoE fights where you can summon her between fights, she's, yeah, a bit busted. So to conclude, she's definitely the top performing multi-target companion that there is right now. Will she stay that way? I don't know. Keep in mind, it's always open to change. She might get changed tomorrow, she might get changed next week, she might never get changed at all. If you have her, that's great. If you don't, I wouldn't go spending millions to get her. She does come from the Lockbox of Lost Knowledge, this one right here, where you'll get her on account-wide already on Mythic, which is great. The box itself is decent to open with the amount of trade bars it can give you. You'll just want to stick with it until you get like your guaranteed rewards. She was also recently added to the lockbox, the magnificent resurgent lockbox, where you can get a pack after opening 250. And this mythic pack, which is actually legendary, contains that Flump companion. Maybe they knew this would happen. Maybe they planned it all along. But just be aware that it's competing against your golden companions in this box that are down the bottom here. So they already sell for, I guess, over tens of millions. But I wouldn't go getting this Flump there. I wouldn't spend anything really to get this. It's highly likely it's going to get nerfed. But again, we don't know when. In the new trial, she is most definitely the top performer versus anything else. Nothing can compete. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.